zone.
Greetings, my fellow Fright Fiends. It's your buddy Boogeyman Ben here for an episode of Boogeyman Ben's Horror Zone, and this is going to be a new segment that I'm focusing on this channel. This is something that I did a long time ago where I did a comic book Wednesday, and I used to talk about all the comics that I would pick up weekly from my saver at Flying Colors Comics, where I go and pick up my books. But that segment didn't seem very popular, so I kind of did away with it. Every once in a while I'd bring it back. But what I decided that's more important to do, that's more of the theme of this channel, is to focus on horror comics. So scary comics, horror-themed comics. So this is going to be called Horror Comic Haul, and I'm going to do one of these at least once a week, because I do try to go and pick up comics at Flying Colors Comics every week. I have a lot of cool ones to talk about today. These are some new ones, ones that I'm reading right now, and ones that just concluded. So the first one I want to talk about is the conclusion of Vertigo's The Lost Boys. This was a 6-issue series. I've read all the first 5. I haven't read this one yet. This is the conclusion to it. And the writers for this one, see if I can get their names right. So you have Tim Seeley and Scott Godlewski did the artwork. And I wasn't a huge fan of this series. I love The Lost Boys. The original film is one of my all-time favorite horror films. Grew up on that film. In fact, this is going to be the 30th anniversary of that film. Makes me feel real fucking old. But really loved The Lost Boys. The sequels were okay. I really did like the 3rd sequel in the Lost Boys series. In fact, a long time ago, going back about 5 years ago, I did a retrospective on the Lost Boys series. And there was a comic book series that came out prior to The Lost Boys The Tribe coming out. And I kind of did like that comic book series. I liked it more than this one. And the guy that wrote the screenplay for Lost Boys, The Tribe, and The Thirst wrote that comic book series. And I kind of liked it because it did sort of have, I don't know, just had a better flow to it. And I dug it a lot more than this one. Now, this has the cast from the original one in it, which those books didn't. It only had the Frog Brothers and Sam. And it had the grandfather, I believe. But this one has all of the returning cast, but I just didn't feel the voice of this story matched with the Lost Boys films. It just didn't feel like the same characters to me. I don't know if it was just the way that, I don't know if it's just been too long, or if they just didn't, the writer for this, in my opinion, just didn't have the voice of those films. I am anxious to read the last issue and to see how it ends up, but wasn't a really big fan of it. The next one I want to talk about is another series I'm reading. I'm completely caught up on it, and that is The Walking Dead. And this, of course, is put out by Image. You have the great Robert Kirkman, who puts this book out, and this is issue number 165, Opportunity. I haven't read this book yet, but the ending of it was spoiled for me online, which pisses me off, because, I do follow the Walking Dead TV series as well as the comic book series, and of course they blurted out something that happens at the end of this issue. Because there's no secrets anymore with the internet. Everything is just online, and it just ruins a lot of things for people, and I was very pissed off about this, but I really like that cover. And this, the last couple issues have been after the Whisper War, and I'm really liking the direction that they're going with it, and I'm really curious to see, what's going on in this issue. Like I said, I don't want to spoil it for anybody that isn't caught up with the book series, but the Whisper War, I can say that is concluded as of now, and it's the aftermath, and these characters here are the saviors, and I'm curious to see what direction they're gonna go now that big storyline of the Whisper War is now concluded. The next one I picked up is one I haven't read, but it's one I'm trying to get into. One thing I'm trying to get into is older. I like a lot of older comics I grew up with, but I like a lot of old horror comics. So like Tales from the Crypt, Tomb of Dracula, Blade. You also have like Man-Thing and Werewolf by Night, and this one is Man-Thing #1, and this is done by R.L. Stine, who did the Goosebumps series. So I'm really anxious to read this one. I just found out about it this week. So this wasn't in my saver, but I was really anxious to pick this one up because I'm really curious how it's going to go. And the young lady at the comic book store said it's a really good book. She initially was worried that it was going to be too kid-like because of R.L. Stine's, writing style and the fact that the Goosebumps series was more for kids, but she said it's really, really good. And the last couple of books I want to focus on or talk about is a series that I used to collect, and it's Ghost Rider. So I've gotten there's 4 right now, and I don't know if this is just a 4-issue limited series, but they have a different Ghost Rider now. His name is Robbie Reyes, or Robbie Reyes, and he Ghost Rider drives a car now, and I really like the series where he became the new Ghost Rider. So it's not Dan Ketch, it's not Johnny Blaze, and looks like he's going to be mixing it up with the Avengers. Looks like possibly Wolverine is in this. So I'm really anxious to check this series out. I have no idea what the story is about, because the original series I think ended at least, 2 years ago probably. They had Morbius come back and a couple others, and those series just, they didn't do well and they got canceled, and Ghost Rider was one of them that didn't continue the storyline of Robbie Reyes. So I'm really anxious to check this one out, but the covers are really awesome. See them right there. Here's number 2. And I really like the character of Robbie. I think he's a great addition to the Ghost Rider lore. And here's the last one. So yeah, some excellent books. I'm really happy to pick these up, and I'm really anxious to read them. So yeah, just a new segment on the channel. We're bringing a segment back, and we're kind of revamping it. So let me know what you guys think of my new segment, Horror Comic Haul. I would love to hear what people think about this, if they like this idea, if they want me to go more in depth with some of these issues that I'm reading. Like, again, I don't want to spoil it for people. I just want to say, yay or nay in terms of if I like the book or not. But yeah, I'm really excited about this new segment on my channel. And again, thanks so much everyone for watching, and I'll talk to you guys again later. Take it easy. Stay scared.